McDowell's supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417, let your wellness be our stress.
It is well known that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and other illnesses may restrict blood flow, which can lead to impotence and erectile dysfunction. This is why Enhance was formulated to meet these challenging health problems, which can reduce your ability to perform. If you're having problems maintaining your manhood, then reclaim your manhood today with Enhance. Enhance increases your energy level, boosts your stamina, and increases your endurance.
You can get your Enhance at Southwell VA4, Restorer Pharmacy Soufre, Knights Med Miku, Lay By Bar The Morn, Dexter's Place Jeremy Street Castries, Citygate Bar The City opposite the market, Plants Place Denry Highway, Arlette Supermarket Soufre, The Release Stress Bar Labrie Highway, Cool Joint Bar Victoria Schwazel, Prios Bus Stop 22, next to the Moshi Bus Stop opposite the Grosley Bus Stop. Prios Bar and Grill in Corinth, Grosley.
Enhance, the best a man can get.
Another hurricane season is upon us. Make this year different. Equip yourself with a backup power generator from JH Launchers Electric. We can source and supply any size, anytime to your specifications. But the best part is we stock generators. No more long waiting and delays for your home unit. We proudly stock from 2,000 watts all the way to 26,000 watts gas and diesel generators. Automatic and manual transfer switches are also in stock. Visit JH Launchers Electrics today.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Another wonderful Thursday afternoon to you, everyone. Welcome once again to The Real Issues with me, Shelton Daniel. Terry Fenelon can't be with us today. He told me yesterday that there was a possibility he would not be able to make it. And that's how it has turned out. Murphy's Law, you know, the worst part of it, it comes to pass. Spoke with him just a moment ago. And Terry, I know you're a very busy man and you really squeeze out to be with us as often as you do on The Real Issues. We do appreciate that. So whatever it is that keeps you away today, I wish you the best in the undertaking. I know you won't be with us tomorrow because you do a program elsewhere on another medium. So Fridays is really off for you. But I'm so happy that Miguel has agreed to sit in your place. You know, you get accustomed to certain things. It's like I have a tablet, I have a laptop, but I've gotten so accustomed to the compactness of my phone, you know. And many times I got the tab and I don't bring them. You know, in my early days, I used to have, you know, my laptop on the desk and so on, but I just can't get over. Well, you know, when you experience the power of two, and that has nothing to do with Piton Bay or anything like that. When you experience the power of having someone else with you on the program, the double barrel, it's so difficult to go back to being solo, although you know I do the solo thing when I have to. In fact, some people have become so accustomed to me having a co-host that one of them, my good friend, Maria, I'll never forget that, you know. I don't know if I'll forgive you, but I'll never forget. You tell me I wasi. Yeah, that's what he said. He said, when Terry there, you feel in the excitement because I wasi. Now don't tell me you didn't say that, you know. When you tell me I'm still, what is the Creole name for still? Is wasi it have to be? Yeah, Maria, I'll never forget that. So you better call today, report yourself so I can properly deal with you. All right, folks, hope you're having a good day so far. I am. It's a wonderful looking, wonderful feeling day. You know, we've had some good days, and even if we've had some rain, some of it heavy in between, but the rain is nothing, you know. I mean, we learn to welcome the rain. Is the landslide, is the flood, is the wind damage, is the choppy, churning seas and so on that make it perilous even to take a walk on the beach. And I don't think we've had any of that so far this year. Let's hope that the hurricane season, which we're still in, August, has tended to be one of the very active months. If I remember, Hurricane Allen struck us in August. In the month of August. Yes, Tropical Storm Debbie, which did a lot of damage, struck us in September. And I think Thomas was not in August. It was
in the latter half of the hurricane season.
Yeah, so we've had our times and so on, but so far this year, it's not looking that bad. And we're not out of the woods yet, or out of the winds yet. Let's hope that it remains that way. Real Issues people, really appreciate you being there. Like I said, it's really a self-managing, self-governing group. I have very little to do in terms of intervening, you know, as in the early days before the group was settled. But I just want to say something to you, my good friends. You know, the group has over 300 members, and I'm very happy for that. However, there is a little prickliness among some people when I delete things, you know. Now, if I have to delete things, and on every occasion I have to explain why I'm deleting it, you can imagine my whole day and my whole night will go just in that and so on. I don't delete things out of spite. I don't delete them out of malice. I delete it to allow for the fluidity of the discussion in the group to go. And I delete things from some people you'll never believe I delete. Yesterday, on the last couple of days, I deleted things by Terry Fenelon. In his enthusiasm, which is one of the things that I like about him, he posted something somebody else had already posted. So sometimes duplicate posts, you know, I take it out. Now, sometimes somebody was responding to something which subsequently got deleted. You know, so I will delete the comment because it's no longer relevant, it's no longer applicable. You know, whatever you were responding to or commenting on has been deleted. So why leave a comment saying, wow, Miguel, I'm shocked. When the thing that Miguel shocked you with, I took it out already. The other thing too, I try to maintain the flow of discussion and so on. And so we're having a discussion, say, about give me something that's hot and trending. You know, we right.
Politically, just a little.
Right. Okay. We having a discussion about the gun crimes and whatever. And then right in the middle of it, somebody comes and they bring in something about the African black liberation struggle. Or, you know, it's not a bad subject. But it's just that it cuts against the flow of the discussion at the time and does seem a little out of place, does seem not immediately relevant, not totally relevant, so that it does not obstruct the flow of the discussion. I will delete it now. It's unfortunate because we could do with that. Maybe around emancipation, we can talk about the relationship between emancipation in the Caribbean and the African liberation struggle. We can talk about Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba and those kinds of people. But right in the middle of a discussion about something domestic that is of tremendous importance to us, going back to school, whether we are fully ready. Yesterday, somebody was telling me, my goodness me, more and more you have to buy more things for your children for them to go to school. Already this big bag with all those books in it. I said, well, that is what the government is trying to address through the laptops and the e-books and so on, so that you can download a lot of the things that you would have in the bag the software for the books in electronic form so that they don't have to, but of course it's not a smooth, seamless, flawless thing. You have hurdles, you have licensing things, you have all of that. It's not free. There is a cost attached to it. I said, that is why the government is going. A person mentioned so many other things you have to buy. I said, these things are being addressed. They've been around for a long time. Many people believe there is a racket, going on in those school books things, that the agents of publishers, whatever, and their contacts are trying deliberately to keep things so that they can make money. I don't know if it's true, but people allege all kinds of things. So sometimes we might be having a discussion about that. And then right in it, you bring in something about, Donald Trump's vindictiveness and in America. Now, I'm passionate about those subjects too. But I don't want it to get in the way of a good discussion of real St. Lucia issues. You understand? So that is why I delete them. Don't take it personal. If I could and I had the time, I would really explain to everybody. But just I'm asking you, have a little faith in me that I'm not doing it in any way to hurt the Real Issues group. I appreciate what you're doing. I just want the flow of the discussion to go unimpeded. Another thing again, which I've said before, but some things bear repeating. A lot of you find something nice online, maybe a nice prayer, maybe a nice inspirational thing. Some of you are, let's say, devout Catholics, and you want to put something that this is the 17th Sunday after Advent and whatever. So, you want to put it in the group. I delete those things sometimes, not because I am against religiosity and faith and so on, but not everybody is of the same persuasion. And you put something and then somebody might want to respond, you're all Catholics, with all that nonsense about Advent and so on. And then the person who posted feel they need to respond. And people in support feel they need to come out swinging. And these are the people. And then before you know it, you have something which is not the intention of the group. And people are letting fly at each other over something, that is completely avoidable. So a lot of times I delete those things. Not every time. Senator Alison Jean, who's a member of the Real Issues group, every day posts something inspirational. But it's not a flyer. It doesn't have any heavy graphics. It doesn't look like something she's forwarding. It looks like something she composes herself. She's been through a lot, and sometimes that leads to a depth of reflection within a person that they're able to come. Because the moment you get into the forwards and the flyers, everybody, well, when I say everybody, I'm not saying everybody, absolutely. But they try to outdo each other. I see something nicer. I see something heavy. Let me forward it. Let me put it in there. And then before you know it, it becomes a war of forwards and sharings and who looking to see how they can outdo the other. And then you're scrolling in the group for something. You can't find it because so many flyers and so many memes and so many, sometimes an emoji is not bad. It's not a standalone. It's a reaction to something. But some people just put it there just for, putting it there sake. Other people, they find something nice. I have my cousin in Barbados. You know who you are, Uncle. He finds something nice. He just puts it in the group. What's the relevance to the ongoing flow of discussion? How does it help? It's not everything that tickles your fancy that I can allow you to put in the group just because it tickles your fancy. It clutters, the group and everything is so congested and you have to go so much or so, all of that. So I try to keep it as tight and as lean as possible, which is a challenge for a group with more than 300 members. So just understand that, folks, okay? Please. Now, by the way, Miguel, I hope you'll tell other friends of yours like Rihani and so on that the Real Issues is open to them. The same way you can virtually go walk-in.
Rihani knows that. In fact,
Rihani and Melissa Paul has been on a couple of occasions. Mondi knows that, that Real Issues for the comrades is pretty much call and say, Shelton, I'd like to come on your program today, whether by phone or whatever. And you come and, you're welcome. You all know that. I don't need to tell you all that, again. So whatever time, it's pretty much open door, open house for you all, certain people. I'm not talking to other people, I'm not talking to other people, but I think they know that already. Okay, good. Folks, I'm very sensitive to this country's diplomatic relations, especially under this government, which I think is very measured. I think is very well contemplated, thought out. They look at things and they look at the practicalities of it. We don't need to go striding up and down the world stage as if we are some kind of colossus, that we have weight and all these things. We look out for what is best for St. Lucia, for St. Lucia's interest and so on. I understand that. I have my thoughts on the whole China-Taiwan thing. In the past, I think I expressed them quite openly, but that was in a different time. I'm very concerned that because of who I am and people think I know more things and I'm more influential about things than I am, that I don't go about and sound like I am cutting across. You know, I don't pretend an independence beyond what I really possess, even if it is by my own choice and my own determination. So there's some things that I will not agree with them, but I'll kind of stay with my head and my voice down a little bit on them. I think in the past you've known me very uncompromising about the US aggression against Venezuela, the sanctions, the doing everything to squeeze Venezuela and to back Venezuela into a corner. Now, especially now that they want to put the squeeze on Iran even more, on Russia even more. So there's a need for oil, other sources of, vast sources of oil. So Venezuela, which they themselves sanctioned, ruined their petrochemical industry, making it impossible for them to import certain well-needed, how do you call it, things that dilute the crude and so on, diluents or something like that they call them. I mean, it's like wherever progress was made, Trump came back and twice he's just rolled it back. They've tried to create some kind of rapprochement with Cuba. And a lot of the worsened problems that Cuba has now is because of this thing. It's like somebody tell you, okay, we're moving towards better relations and normalization. So you let down your guard, you open up your economy, you do a lot of things in tourism, you allow investments. And then midway, they just pull the rug out from under you. That's a lot of what Cuba is going through there. That's what happened to Cuba, you know? You know my feelings on Russia and Ukraine. No matter what people say about the security guarantees and NATO had agreed not to expand eastward and whatever. Ukraine became desperate to become a member of NATO because they saw that as their only security guarantee that Russia would not continue coming and seizing up huge swathes of their territory, taking over their country. The whole Ukraine started in 2014, a revolution that overthrew a friend and ally, an ethnic Russian who was the president of Ukraine called Viktor Yanukovych. Vladimir Putin became angry. He saw this as a repudiation of Russia, that you all are rejecting and pushing away Russia, and the reason, and since then he's been angry. That's when he took the Crimea, after that revolution that overthrew Viktor Yanukovych. That is what has made Ukraine desperate to join NATO. They were not looking to join NATO. They were looking for stronger ties with the EU. But if you're just going to come and just take a piece of land, I need some muscle to back me up and so on. That is what's not being said. The other thing about Russia, vast, wealthiest country in the world, potentially in terms of its resources. Russia is an underachieving country. Because Russia does not want to stay the course with the required reforms from its old Soviet-style, centrally planned command economy and so on. And Russia believes that its destiny lies in just rolling on its smaller, weaker neighbors. Anytime there's a problem, just go, invade them. So Russia never pays attention to itself, to developing itself. And if it sees a smaller country, neighbor with whom it once had, you know, a virtually irrepressible big brother relationship like Ukraine, through ties with the West developing and becoming wealthier, which is what they were doing anyway. It's a kind of jealousy. I'm an underachiever and you're showing me up by your progress and so on. No, you have to stay under my hand, under my armpit. I'm going to put my foot on your head again and do this kind of thing. Now, that's my view of it. But let's go back to Venezuela. You know, I've always stood up. I actually wasn't protesting in Castries. I actually joined demonstrations at Bido Park and Simon Bolivar bust and so on. For Venezuela, telling the US, hands off Venezuela, you know. Obama, another enigma to me again, was president at the time. I've actually done all of that. But what I'm saying, CARICOM has stood up in solidarity. And when CARICOM does that against the might of the United States and European countries, you have to laud CARICOM. It takes a lot of courage to do that, to stand up and to tell the United States, hands off Cuba, hands off Venezuela. We do not agree. In the days when the US and other countries were actually declaring a president for Venezuela, you know, Juan Guaido, whatever became of him anyway.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
a good question.
You know, whatever became of him, the Juan Guaido days, in those days, not under Zelensky, Ukraine supported that foolishness too, at the time. Sometimes I wonder if they're not paying for that kind of thing. But Ukraine is so far away, I don't think they physically harmed Russia. But I stood up I spoke against this kind of thing. I praised that one of the earliest decisions made by this Philip J. Pierre administration was to pull St. Lucia out of this magie of Lima Group and so on and restore proper, full, regular diplomatic relations with Venezuela. You know I've said that. CARICOM through Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados, Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez of St. Vincent, and Norway tried to broker a settlement and some kind of mending of whatever was going on, the internal divisions in Venezuela, in a bid to stave off, you know, all those sanctions and all the international pressure. So CARICOM has been central. And you know, if America decide to get pissed off with CARICOM, you know, for standing up for Venezuela, you know the damage they can do to us. They can wipe us out virtually overnight. CARICOM has not allowed any cowardice on this basis to stop them or to deter them. We remain in lockstep, hand in hand. And that is why I decided to speak on this today, when I heard Prime Minister Pierre say that whatever matter relates to our dealing with Venezuela and our response to what is happening, we will deal with it within the context of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, which is the treaty that establishes the Caribbean community. And in fact, the revised one takes it a step forward towards the establishment of a CARICOM single market and economy and so on. I said, you know, a lot of people don't understand why Prime Minister Pierre said that. Venezuela in recent years has insisted on adopting a threatening stance towards Guyana. I'm saying, to me, share gratitude to CARICOM. Because Guyana is where the headquarters of CARICOM is. Share gratitude to CARICOM for the way they have stood up in solidarity. At least, I'm not saying to completely abandon it, but put that on the back burner. Now, last year when they had the presidential election or whatever it was, many people assured me that it was just electioneering that Maduro was doing, you know, because this is a very emotional topic in Venezuela, to convince them that he's standing up for the country and whatever it is. I wasn't convinced. You know why? Because Venezuela actually said, even though this matter is before the International Court of Justice for final resolution, Guyana said, okay, whatever the ruling, will accept it. If they decide that the 5/8, almost 3/4 of Guyana, that Venezuela is claiming as its own is theirs, we'll accept Venezuela. Obviously, because they don't have the confidence that the ruling will be in their favor. They said, oh, you know, it depends. They're not bound by anything. I said, you see those people? They're not serious. Election came and went. Maduro won, or declared himself, or was declared the winner. I still, after that, heard the same threatening noises after he has won the election against Guyana. You understand? Now, I'll tell you why I brought in the Ukraine thing again. You know, about Ukraine. Russia spooked Ukraine into wanting to join NATO. Now they have a problem with the possibility. When you're the one who came and took their land just like that, they didn't do you all anything. They didn't throw a pebble at you. You just took their land. Of course, they want to see who has the muscle to stand up for us and to defend us. But NATO, you know, they don't understand that. They tell me, oh, it's an emotive subject. If there is one person, party, government, movement that has the political capital, that has the wherewithal, that has the legitimacy to convince the people of Venezuela, if you're prepared to do the heavy lifting, if you are prepared to really invest in it, to tell the Venezuelan people, look, folks, we need to look back at this territorial claim we have on Guyana. You know, Guyana has been a good neighbor to us. They've stood up. You know, the immediate past president of Guyana, a retired military man, retired Brigadier David Granger, actually said that one of the reasons why America turned on him and they were trying to overthrow his government was because they asked him to let Guyana be used as a staging area for an invasion of Venezuela. And he said, hell no. You know, he said that is one of the reasons why America was determined to see the back of his government. I don't know if it's true, but Granger, who was a man of general integrity and whatever, Granger actually said that. I think Maduro should take the difficult course of using his time in power and his party to coax Venezuelans that this thing against Guyana is something we need to put aside, put it on the back burner. We can look at it some other time. We can continue whatever, not to encourage the hostilities that have been going on. Now, the reason why I'm saying so, when Prime Minister Pierre talks about the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, it is quite clear that the solidarity of CARICOM, including St. Lucia, Belize, is overwhelmingly in Guyana. Don't touch Guyana. You continue to make those threatening noises. You make it difficult for the solidarity that you'd have gotten, the advocacy that you'd have gotten from CARICOM on your behalf to tell America, look, take it easy with Venezuela, whatever. They will be less inclined to do so. The other thing too, put yourself in Guyana's place, just like I said, put yourself in Ukraine's place. You think Guyana will face the threat of an invasion by Venezuela and the annexation of their property, and they will not do exactly what Ukraine did after the Crimea was snatched from them? Who is it that has the muscle, that has the might to stand up for us, to deter Venezuela, to push back Venezuela, if they seize our land, to force them to give it back to us, to set up a defensive line or perimeter on our behalf? But the United States of America, who will do it? Who can do it? And so what you're doing is that you're pushing Guyana more into the embrace of the United States, probably to be in agreement and probably to grant them bases and to station forces and to use Guyana as a staging area. The thing that Granger said he didn't want to do. The thing that Forbes Burnham would have never agreed to. But when you place them under threat, it becomes almost a Ukraine situation. Venezuela is a powerful country, you know. Don't fool yourself with them, you know. They have a military that is strong. They have an Air Force that have planes at least as modern as the US F-16s. Guyana don't have any of that. In the glory, they still have F-16s from past, relationship with America. They have a Navy. They have an Army that numbers, a lot of things that if they decide to invade Guyana, Guyana stands no chance without outside help. So I want to see. I understand what the Prime Minister is saying. We have to act within the Treaty of Chaguaramas, which binds CARICOM, of which Guyana is an integral founding member, Guyana is so nationalistic when it comes to CARICOM. It was one of the early countries to join the CCJ, to make it their thing. Guyana is a country where, whether we Cooley or Neg or whoever is leading Guyana, they really are a pro-CARICOM thoroughbred country. Venezuela needs to tone down and at this stage repudiate those threatening noises that they are making against Guyana. They need to express or demonstrate an appreciation for the solidarity that CARICOM has shown, the support it has given them, by backing off and adopting a hands-off Guyana approach. They need to stop this foolishness with that map about Guyana Essequiba. People have to create a map.
That's what I'm saying, Shelton. It's even more in the gratitude. You look at a country like Venezuela has so much in oil reserves. It's just a matter of greed at this point.
Yes, as if they want to show hostility to Guyana because Guyana has Exxon Valdez investing and this kind of thing. By right, Guyana should have invited the Venezuelan oil thing, the Citgo group and PDVSA and all of that in there. That's what should have happened. A collaboration between them. You think Guyana will want to do that? When they see you threatening them about annexing their territory and you showing maps that have already annexed it, and there should have been a collaboration that should have had America and the heads of others spinning. They should have been coming cap in hand to Venezuela, Guyana and said to them, look, can you sell some oil for us and this kind of thing? Because we needed to make up for the shortfalls from Iran and Russia and even Saudi Arabia. That Prince bin Salman is playing his own game. What is going on with Russia and Iran? It suits him just fine because it creates a shortage that puts Saudi Arabia in a powerful bargaining position or based on price, supply and all kind of things that they're doing. Venezuela could have been the way out of all this blackmail collaborating with Guyana. But
this could have been a part of Petro-Caribbean. Yes,
we have non-English speaking members of CARICOM, Haiti and Suriname. We could have even invited Venezuela to be a member of CARICOM. Invited Venezuela, be a member of CARICOM. The OECS now includes territories that are still part of France. Martinique and so on are part of the OECS now. We could have worked out something. But right now, United States come in, and if you're going to threaten, it will not surprise me if this time CARICOM remains a little quiet, And if you get a bloody nose, it may be a relief to many people. I don't speak for anybody, but in Guyana in particular, and others might say, well, look, if you don't want to appreciate the friendship and the solidarity that we show you to the extent that you stop adopting a threatening posture, then maybe the black eye, the bloody nose, the knocked out teeth and so on that you get from the United States, perhaps you had it coming for you. I don't want to see that happen. The United States imperialism and Monroe Doctrine and whatever we call it, you know, in the Caribbean and so on.
Manifest destiny.
Yeah, manifest destiny and all of that. You know, I really would like to see an end of that nonsense forever in the entire Caribbean, which includes Central America, areas bordering the Caribbean Sea, Latin America, Caribbean islands. I really don't want to see a repeat of those days and so on, where even our own Windward Islands had to see an invasion, you know, of one of our countries, Grenada and so on. But Venezuela needs to change its behavior and its posture. So, Prime Minister, big up to you for saying it and allowing the subtext to speak for itself, that whatever position we take will be done within the context and ambit of the Treaty of Chaguaramas, which binds us together as the Caribbean Community CARICOM. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. We'll be back shortly. I'm going to give Miguel a chance to talk, okay? I done him wrong, inviting him there and then, you know, going off on my rant and so on. That's going to change. Back in a moment. Don't go away.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Another hurricane season is upon us. Make this year different. Equip yourself with a backup power generator from JH Launchers Electric. We can source and supply any size, any type to your specifications. But the best part is we stock generators. No more long waiting and delays for your home unit. We proudly stock from 2,000 watts all the way to 26,000 watts gas and diesel generators. Automatic and manual transfer switches are also in stock. Visit JH Launchers Electrics today.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with big issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into and staying with the Real Issues powered by Blue Waters on this Thursday. It is the 28th day of the month of August. The month is rapidly running out. And come Monday, we're in September, you know. So this is your last week and weekend for the month of August. Good afternoon to my friend Lima, who says, blessed Thursday afternoon to you. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Blessings all over you. Stay strong. Shelton, I can't hear you this afternoon because the TV is stuck and cannot hear no program. I think she meant any program. This afternoon, I'm pissed off. We had this problem of stuck TV. I hope it's something that's just for you. But I think generally the problem was resolved. So I don't know what could have become of this afternoon. Cornelia Jacob, good afternoon to you. How do you like the red shirt today? You know, if ever I wear something that is off-white or cream or peach, whatever, you always challenge me about it. Send me a message now, Cornelia, about the red shirt. You know, what you think of it today? I've had it for a long time. I haven't worn it. So today I looked at it and I said, boy, I better put this on, you know. And I had you in mind, especially for it. Speaking of you, Cornelia, I was just segueing into. Cornelia is the mother of triplets.
Oh, yes.
And it's their birthday today. Yeah. Okay. So, happy birthday to your triplets. Cornelia, and here their names, the triplets. One is called Yvel, the other one is called Vundel, and the third one is called Vernel. Now, when as children you had to call Vundel and Vernel, Vundel, Vernel. Both of them come in, Mommy, did you call me? Mommy, which one of us you call? Or anything like that? Did that used to happen, or did they understand the D, the difference between the D and the N so correctly? So, Vernel, I'll say the other one before I say the one sounding similar. Yvel and Vundel, happy birthday to you all, coming from your mommy, Cornelia Jacob, the animator, and also from us here on The Real Issues. The very best to you. Raising twins and taking care of them couldn't have been anything easy. It had to have been challenging. I'm the father of twins, and I can tell you they were quite a lot energetic. But you know, one thing I found about them was that they took care of each other. They looked after each other. They modeled it for each other in terms of setting the example. So there was a kind of a reinforcement, which was a good reinforcement. They squealed on each other. Daddy, look, and so it's going in the in the bathtub. So they reported, so they wouldn't get away with anything with one covering up for the other. They would get into that big tub, and with a little coconut, half coconut shell, scoop, bathe each other, pour water on each other, and so on. And they grew up, learning a lot of things. When I saw those guys, Ross especially, standing by the stove and making roti, currying his chicken and rolling out his dough and all of that. And that was one day I remember where I looked and I said, but when did they get so tall? I'm looking up to see the guy and I'm wondering, when did they get so tall? And so they had this kind of reinforce each other and help each other grow and develop, and quite a lot of fun and so on to see them.
I guess they were too well behaved to do the switcheroo in class, right?
They were very active, very active. Physical sport.
Oh yeah, they were athletes. They were really good athletes.
Yeah, and this sort of thing, and they grew up loving art, loving painting, and that sort of thing. Both of them. So really, you see it takes a lot, especially when they're very young and they wake you up in the night. As soon as you put one back to bed and you change his diaper and you feed him and you put him and he's safely back, that's when the other one wakes up. So it's not a case where synchronized you can do for them, and so on. But then you see them grow up into grown men. Can't believe it's almost 35 years, since that time and so on. They are. So these guys, the triplets thing might be another level. But Migs, what's in your mind today?
But just let me say about my twin experience. I'm listening to you talk about the boys, and I was saying that they're pretty much well-behaved young men. So I bet they didn't do the switcheroo in class. Let me say good afternoon to the Valmore family. In my year, there were the twins, Kuma and Pennin. One of them unfortunately got shot quite by accident when we were leaving Form 1, going to Form 2 the summer, just a few weeks before we entered Form 2.
Got shot?
I can't remember if you remember that, up by the Harbour Lights up in La Clary. There was a neighbor and his father worked with SSU, so he was washing the vehicle and he found the firearm. I think his service firearm was under the mat, and he took out the cartridge. He pointed it at the group, and not knowing that there's one in the chamber.
My goodness.
So Pennin died. We were just sent to go back to school to Form 2 at St. Mary's, but his twin Kuma was in another class. Pennin was in my class. They would switch classes. We knew the difference, but the teachers didn't know the difference. So sometimes in Form 1 they'd come from one class and go to the other, and the teacher wouldn't know the difference. But saying good afternoon to everyone tuned in, whether on radio, television, and on social media platforms. I just want to express my congratulations to Mr. John Estefan and the gentleman who was selected to contest the Schwazel seat. Kifson Charles.
Yes.
He's Bolo's nephew, is that right? Bolo's nephew,
yes.
The late Bolo.
I've been hearing his name mentioned for a long time. But up to that point, I only knew about one other person who was seriously contending. That's a guy called Movin Omi. Right. And I think Movin Omi has some connection with the party. He's a treasurer or something of that kind, occupying a position. I saw pictures of him, it seems, going around canvassing. So I thought it was a matter of Dr. Pauline Antoine Prosper, who we might call the incumbent, even though, she was the last person who contested that seat for the Labour Party, and Movin Omi. And then lately, in recent weeks, I was hearing about Kifson Charles, who seemed to have gained momentum quite extensively and quite rapidly in a short space of time. But maybe he was on the ground long before. You know.
How about Darian? I had heard nothing about Darian Lewis.
I never felt like he was someone who was seriously considered.
From his social media posts, I never felt like he was someone who was seriously considering it, but I held my reservations, although people within, you know, our group did say that, you know, he comes from a very strong Labour family. In fact, there was a WTF moment when it was known that he was on Bradley's team. By 2016 elections, I believe it was.
Yes.
So I guess best of luck. I'm hoping that he can at least, if to prove that he really has thrown support, he could work with those candidates as well. And when we win that election, you know, he could be a vital part of their team. And of course, to Mr. Estefan, I had my own reservations about him as well. And we had a few, albeit brief, back and forth on social media back during the stint of EWP in government, where his stance was clearly at the time in support of United Workers' Party. I mean, it may have been in support of his brother. I'm not sure if he's also Andy Daniels' brother and an educator's brother.
I don't know if he is, because Edmund Estefan and Andy Daniel are brothers by father.
By father, yeah.
By a man, Mr. Victor Edward of Dennery, who I knew growing up. We used to call him Mr. Archie, who's also educator's father.
And Veronica Bernard, and there's a
right.
few
So
of them.
you know, Veronica Bernard, the lawyer, is his daughter. So I don't know if Mr. Archie is also John Estefan's father. I assume that the Estefan comes from the mother's name and so on. So I haven't heard him ever been referred to as one of Archie's children. There was the agricultural, senior agricultural officer, Nymphia Edward, who's also, you know, the late Mr. Victor Edward's daughter. Mr. Edward.
And Marietta Edward.
Yes,
as well.
yes. There was Irene Edward, who I think was once a deputy permanent secretary. So, you know, the family is large, especially on the father's side. But I don't know if John Estefan.
Yes, kind of like a Spider situation. There's a very close friend of ours, his Spider's brother. Yeah, but congratulations to Mr. John Estefan as well. And from all indications and from discussions I actually had with someone this morning who was in the vicinity of Debarra last evening, and who is from the community, there seems to be a lot of momentum on his side.
Yeah, there just seems to be a lot of, you know, excitement. People seem to be rallying behind him, and we have a few dissenters, of course. There's a lady by first name, I'll only say Juliana, who's on Facebook and making no bones about her displeasure. And that is why I keep on saying, we must have this understanding that when people's emotions are a little bit raw, you know, over those things, because they probably had a closeness, they probably had something with the person, and they believe that. But over time, you know, it tapers and it fades and so on, and we must not overreact to them, you know. If they seem to be very rough with the person, it takes a little time, and give it time. And I believe the leadership of the Labour Party, Prime Minister Pierre, the other people who I'm told are on the selection committee or panels and so on, these are all the things that they do. Do it within a time frame that allows, you know, for that healing process to take place. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm quite excited about the prospects of Danny Butcher and Dr. Haraxing at this point, because they're only going to add to the crop of young, and I have to commend Kenson and Jerry. Sean Upajenako, but Sean held his own as a young man in the parliament. Yes. But at Kenson and Jeremiah, and especially hearing Jeremiah speak, that level of maturity, you'd never understand. You'd never guess that he's the youngest parliamentarian we have there. Indeed. And watching him on platform and official platforms, where he, in his role as minister and in the parliament, I think he has really he surprised me. Pleasantly surprised me over the past few years. And I think there's only both he and Kenson, they can only grow forward, grow from there. But also, I like to commend the party on embracing both the youth and women into the fold, because we've seen the likes of Dr. Haraxing, another who's basically following her mother's footsteps, and hopefully this time she can actually capture the seat. Well, we're confident that she will capture the seat, the Miku South seat at this time. So kudos to the Prime Minister, the selection team, the leadership of the party for understanding that there are these are the demographics that we also have to appeal to, and not appealing to them. It's not only sending someone who's part of that demographic to contest the election, but someone or people of substance, people who clearly have an integral part and important part to play in the development of the country, and who have played in the development of the country.
Okay, Shelton, you will never finish calling names. Archie is reputed to have had over 30 children. That isn't much. I met a man once up the morning. I forgot his name, but I met him with a gentleman who was in real estate called Mr. Ed Brown. I was good friends with Ed's brother, Mr. Robert Bobby Brown, and through him I met Ed. And Ed had this little office up the morning. By the way, Ed, I haven't seen you for a long time. I never heard news that you passed. So if you're listening, my very best to you. You're a nice guy, just like your late brother Bobby Brown was. And the gentleman got to talking to me, and he was telling me how he has 50 children. He has 50 children. I said, but how did you take care of them? He said, well, in those days, it was the heyday of the banana industry. So what he used to do was the children, he would give them money in the initial stages, but he would make sure he planted a huge field of bananas for them. And out of the banana revenue, he managed to fill them. If they didn't have their own land, he would either ask somebody or lease or whatever and plant a huge field of bananas. And there were days where banana was really green gold.
It was.
And he told me he used to do that, and through that, he had 50 children. Sadly, he told me one of his children, a daughter, committed suicide. And you could hear talking that no matter how long it was, he was very, very heartbroken about it. And I said, but why did she do that? And he said, at the time they had hands across St. Lucia. Oh, yes. And she wanted to go and participate in it. And her mother forbade her from going to participate. So apparently she had so much invested in that, she felt like she was being so. That and maybe other grouses accumulated that she killed herself. And he told me he had 50 children. And I looked at the man, and 50. The man was looking good. So if Mr. Hachi...
50 on record.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Look, I'm just getting a message saying it's a while Ed Brown died, So
okay.
I haven't seen him for a long time. I didn't know that. I know when Mr. Bobby Brown died. Bobby was really a nice man, I have to say. And one of my sons got very close to him and liked him quite a lot as well.
I'd say good afternoon to Candy Kane Joseph Crescentia. She says, leave my rep alone. Sean is a young man. Makes Sean again.
Yeah. But someone sent me a message saying Nymphia said that he is a brother, that John Estefan is her brother.
Is her brother, okay.
So if that's the case, then John and
Andy.
And Edmund Estefan, that they would be brother by both mother and father. If that is the case.
So that would make Andy his brother as well.
That would make Andy.
Oh my! So it looks like the family, certain elements of the family are making the right switch.
Don't take that for granted. No,
I will never do so.
Don't take that as a given.
I will never do so. But it's interesting, Shelton, as we say that what I am hearing, because I can't confirm for myself, what I'm hearing is happening in Dennery South. Because I heard Estee. There were talks of Estee planning on contesting as an independent. But I do know that he was never really a fan of Alan Chasney.
Oh, really?
Estee wasn't a fan of Chasney, especially with the way Andy was treated in the house. So, like I think it was mentioned yesterday by either you or Terry, that by virtue of John having support his brother when he went because he was on the other side, I think it might stand to reason that they might be tighter knit than we thought, and these guys might not. They might tend to stray or drift away from the new WP, just because of the values or lack thereof, which be on display by Alan Chasney and his current crop of people.
Alan Chasney is toxic. He's pernicious. He is not the kind of man who can keep a political party together unless they do, as he's famously known for saying, they submit to him. And they don't just have to submit to him, they have to go through some kind of gangster initiation. Show me that you are on my side by doing something, you understand, that will basically burn bridges, with the other side. And in other words, you join a gang, well, how do we know you won't switch and rat on us, How do we know you're not going to go and squeal on us?
And this episode is Attack Richard Frederick.
Yeah, so shoot somebody so we can know that you wouldn't squill on us because you have something very dirty on you that if you do, it's going to come out. Now, that's an extreme illustration that I'm giving there. But you basically have to do what this young lady tried on Ernest Hilaire. Try to frame him. Throw some dirt, some serious dirt, so that you have no way back. You have, like I said, all bridges are burnt with you on the other side, so that you can show yourself. And we've seen some people take it to the extreme. If you are the kind of person, do you notice that ever since Nancy Charles spoke about, she didn't like what they were doing with the period poverty thing and the attacks that they were launching, that she felt it was a good, like basically she felt it was laudable. Yeah. That they should. To me, I don't see.
I haven't seen or heard that.
To me, Nancy has faded away.
Funny enough, it's just coincidental you said that. Moments ago, I was messaging another Nancy, a friend of mine, and her birthday just recently passed. I ended up messaging Nancy Charles by accident. Okay. Funny, she just mentioned that was only a few minutes ago.
Right. So it may be for other reasons, but I noticed that Nancy seems to have receded, to have faded away into the background. Titus Prevail, the Maypre that was dropped for him, although in the subsequent Chamber of Commerce interaction, whatever that they had where Chasney presented, Titus Prevail was there with him, along with Tommy Descat. You know the Chamber of Commerce, and the very first outing is Alan Chasney that's going to be presenting and so on, and whatever. I think Richard Peterkin, I saw, wrote a summary of what went on and so on. So this is the kind of way Herman Gil Francis had to take, a swipe at Richard Frederick and at Kenny Anthony and come with the same talking point that the reason why we're running into problems with impacts is because of Alba, the very same Alan Chasney kind of talking points you have to be pushing and you have to be peddling. So it would not surprise me that Edmund Estefan, if he retained any bit of the mind of his own, but then sometimes you see they're not there and then they just appear.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think Shirley Rufflard has faded into the background and she shows up again. Sometimes you think Mary Isaac and then they show up again. There is a curious psychology about Flambeaus. No matter how much they are disenchanted, no matter how much they are disillusioned with their party, with its leadership, as elections approach, especially when they see a chance to defeat the Labour Party, this excitement about Monsieur Issam Nukai Fan, Issa Labour, it just re-energizes them and they don't care about their leader being somebody that is obnoxious. They don't care about the party being disarray. As far as they're concerned, we can kick that can down the road. We'll take care of that later. Right now, what we're concerned about, say, and pay or Labour,
Shelton, that's the thing. Let's look at the common thread here. You talk about EWP, but let's speak about the prominent figures in there and the common thread here as to, we know Spider openly.
Yes.
Spider, Sarah, Thorold, Prudent. There are other people I could go back with, but let's look at these three as a common thread there. They broke and they're desperate.
Yeah.
Sarah has been bankrupt. Sarah's saving grace was becoming a minister. That's why her mouth was long. We need to go back to those tapes and I will find it.
What about Oswald Augustine, Aussie Boy?
Aussie Boy is flip-flopping. Aussie Boy is an opportunist though.
Okay, there seems to be like, he's not really in.
He's an opportunist. Because Aussie Boy not a flubbo. Was Aussie Boy ever a flubbo? He was never a flubbo. Aussie Boy was a supporter of the PLP and George Odlum. Yeah. And he was a Labour Party man. Okay. he was a Labour bad. Aussie Boy was never a flubber, but he's an opportunist. So that's another common thread among the Islam, because power, if there is opportunities for him to have power, or whether now Chasney is in there as I'm not saying that's the case, but the opportunity does lie as a shipper, as a broker, as a shipping agency to get it good from the government that you support. That's what Aussie Boy is about. I always told Terry, when he lauds things that Aussie Boy says, and he'll criticize Chasney, but he doesn't criticize the EWP. Yeah. Does he?
Yeah, I don't know. But coming back to John Estefan in particular, there seems to be, especially in the case of he and Chandali Harak Singh, an instant outpouring of feel good among the Labour Party that we got it this time. Chasney is in trouble. Do you understand? Down in Mukisab. I have never felt that mood before. That the moment Chandali Harak Singh was mentioned and the moment she was endorsed, it's like, we got him. We got him this time.
Especially
and right now, Babuno, you used to hear a little bit of, the Bakase, boy, we need to do something, whatever. But it's like the moment John Estefan is mentioned, you sense that a lot of tails are up in the air. A Labour Party tail.
I even hear, I hear Sipsio. Shelton, and my sources are normally very reliable, that a former minister and a former MP for that area, for Babuno, maybe a recent one or one from years from elections past.
So Babuno and Den Resolve might be very interesting.
Interesting
place.
It's going to be interesting, folks. It is.
There will not be strictly a straight fight between a Labour candidate and a UWP candidate. There may be other forces.
It might be a threesome, or it might be a 2-on-1.
Right. but Miko South, the other thing which is good is the instant closing of ranks behind Shanda.
Oh yes.
Like Greg Vicentage, who was so energetic and vibrant,
saw his press release right away.
Came out right away. You know Gibo is there. You know Carlos Moncher is there. You know whoever was there vying that they're there. And I understand Viewfort South, well, a lot of people consider it a given, especially after that youth rally. And actually saw the man on the platform. It's like people consider that Danny Butcher is really going to be the butcher.
Congratulations. Tresha, I heard Tresha supporting Lady Lee.
Tresha, I said,
women for women.
She immediately said a lot, laugh out loud, and she said, that's ridiculous.
Good afternoon, Tresha.
She didn't have time to even, to give that thing time of day.
Danny was another surprise hearing him on the platform. Interacting with him prior to that, he did not strike me as that powerful individual, the way he performed at that youth rally.
Yes.
So it was a very pleasant surprise seeing the contrast between the Danny Butcher that I've seen and met in person and seeing his performance on the platform. Schwarzel, there's another seat that we have not heard. Have we haven't finished all our seats yet?
No. We finished all of them.
We finished all now.
But Schwarzel,
Schwarzel was the last one. I could have sworn. So we have our full slate of candidates.
We have our full slate now.
So now
the only places where there were hopefuls and contenders and so on were in fact Babuno, Southeast. All right. Miko South,
and
Schwarzel, So and of course before South we don't really consider, but because Dr. Kenny Anthony announced he's retiring.
Okay.
So we can say 5 places where we needed to settle candidacies. They've all been done already.
So the elections like September 18th this time?
I don't know.
It's
the
pushed a month?
was on August 18th.
So it probably pushed a month. Nah, man, I was
Prophet Guy Woodley Joseph prophesied the election for the 18th month.
You mean Prophet Guy?
So the election, So the election is behind us already.
Oh wow! So it's a new term.
So it seems like the Labour Party has already moved into a new term without anybody even knowing
the GG was asleep, man. Who was a snack?
Was that?
The GG was snack, man. He was asleep.
It must be.
There was no dissolution.
It must be,
Well, Sheldon, well, in that case, I'm very, very happy. And I also have Sipsio too. St. Jude. You know what I like about the Prime Minister? Under promise, over deliver. I heard a statement about before the end of the year or by the end of the year. It might be the end of a month.
Yeah, it don't matter where. You see, let me tell you something. This Labour Party don't need to be nervous about being in office that anybody can switch up. Now that the Prime Minister has re-engaged with the Kuwaiti Fund, and from what we are told, they have agreed to re-engage to fund
the troublesome
Julian Hunt Highway and so on, to fix up the mess that Alan Chasney made with that piece of road. I say the Labour Party should look at its term and overperform. You finish St. Jude, you can at least get caught away with the airport. You can at least finish, that highway, the Julian Hunt Highway and so on. At the end of the day, you are doing 2 things. You are demonstrating your competence, your efficiency. You are delivering things, especially things that will show up. In other words, the hospital is one. Chasney say he will finish it. We finish it. So let us see how we will finish the finish. Especially since I don't believe he will be in Parliament after the next election.
I hope not.
Right? No, I hope not.
Not even as a senator.
No, I hope not. I believe Shanda is going to blow Allen away. I believe Shanda marks the end of Allen. The money that was used to underwrite the purchase of the seat, whatever it was, is not going to be of no avail whatsoever. The tide has turned. Allen has done too much foolishness in the House. Like he's not interested in representing the people. Always in getting into some kind of theater and some kind of drama with Claudius Francis and so on. Lately, he's trying to shift over to Ernest Hilaire and Richard Frederick and this kind of thing. I am very, very confident that this election is the end of the road for Alan Chastney. You know what I tell you? I'm very confident. I don't know why. I just have, and a lot of people have this feeling in them too. You know that Alan, that there's going to be a great movement, a great earth movement in Miku South.
Yeah, well, I've already committed to going down to Miku South to campaign. Just before we go on the break, on the note of the Julian Hunt Highway, I also want the public to let's take some things into consideration, because I've heard people saying that, but the Prime Minister had said this not long after they won the government. Only now they think of the Kuwaitis. We have to understand a few things as well. Even now that the Kuwaitis have given the commitment to finance all this, we have to look at the mess that was created when the United Workers' Party came in, because we would have finished that road by now, having acquired the certain lands that we would have on the way from the Shock Bridge all the way up to Grosley. So now we have to go through that process all over again.
Yes.
So it's going to take a while. We may sign the agreement, but we have to understand that the actual construction process may take a while, because it took a while to relocate the people in Ancillary to near the bridge so they can construct.
Indeed.
And speaking of which, Namalco needs to work a bit faster.
Okay, on the West Coast.
The West Coast. CO Williams, you've seen the progress now with CO Williams. I think pretty soon we should hear about the completion, albeit a year, 2 years
of
late.
the Millennium Highway.
Millennium Highway.
It's good.
It's good, but it's
finished.
listen, it's finished.
But
it's
right
finished.
now they have a lot of little work of sidewalks and
That's
this and
exactly
that
what the
complete
press
and
release-
so on.
the press release
Like I
just
said,
stated.
bring it up to a level of slickness that befits Julian Alfred,
Oh, yeah.
which is a plantorium. But you know, I don't think anybody wants to be blowing a trumpet about it because of the length of time it took, all the delays, the forever road, as you know, I call it. But fundamentally, insofar as the motoring surface is concerned, it's finished.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So it's now 1:32. I suppose it's break time. We'll just take calls when we get back in.
Okay, sure. Let me say good afternoon to Cheryl Skeet of Habitat Terrace.
Hi, Miss Skeet.
Yes,
Yeah.
at Bonte. A lady who always gives me a little shout out. Nice person. She says, I like the shirt, but just didn't comment. All right. Okay, well, you did comment now. Lima, who I spoke about, talking about the TV stock, she said, I sent a message to the TV station. Up to now, it's done. It's down. That's my best TV station. Sorry about that. I hope something can be...
She should try resetting her box. Rescanning her box, because someone just messaged and said, what did you do on my TV? So maybe...
Okay.
And someone else said the TV was fine.
The service quality may not be the same in all areas.
Yeah.
There could be little... not all areas are continuously on one circuit.
That is
there
true.
might be junction boxes and whatever they call them that are for different areas that probably need a little servicing. And like I said, I've been seeing the crews out, so maybe they're aware of that. Send a happy birthday to my granddaughter Samara. She turned 6, coming from Fred and Lily. And that is from Lily Walcott of Bogies. Nice lady, and her husband Fred Walcott. So happy birthday to Samara from your grandma and your grandpa, Fred and Lily Walcott of Bogies. Let me see if I can just get others, because you tend to forget those things. Good afternoon to Skinny of Skinny's Chicken, who is telling me that they have fish on the menu tonight. So are you really Skinny's Chicken or Skinny's Fish? You know?
Wait, it's Thursday.
Okay, right. Okay, so he says they have fish on the menu tonight. And just last night I had some of their chicken. I don't know if I'll go for the fish tonight. I'll probably be elsewhere. But since you've reminded me of it, my best to you and Kiana and all the others of your staff. Great people, I always say that you are. Let me see this.
Jean Francois says you're not even talking about Juju and our Juju Jam, the reporter over yonder.
Yes. Mr. Lucius Justin, the tailor in Castries, San's father, sent me a message, says, could you update me about Julian? I think he meant Julian.
The race is at 2 p.m.?
Please. Yes. So you have that.
Her race is at 2 p.m. I've heard.
All right. Okay. Mr. Justin, as soon as we find out what's there, we'll really tell you. Senator Alison John says, wow, that's a lovely shirt.
Thank you.
It's scarlet red.
Oh, that.
All right. Well, you know what your shirt is talking about, guys. I am the bomb. I am the star of the show today, just because of the shirt. Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. We go for our final break. When we come back, the telephone lines will be open for your calls and your messages.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell's supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
Another hurricane season is upon us. Make this year different. Equip yourself with a backup power generator from JH Launchers Electric. We can source and supply any size, any type to your specifications. But the best part is we stock generators. No more long waiting and delays for your home unit. We proudly stock from 2,000 watts all the way to 26,000 watts gas and diesel generators. Automatic and manual transfer switches are also in stock. Visit JH Launchers Electrics today.
Oh my goodness!
Feel your Feel your heart racing?
He can do nothing wrong tonight.
Feel your toes tapping?
That sounded very good.
Feel the energy building?
Writing more chapters in a legendary book.
That's the feeling of the Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League, blasting back to town. And this year, the party is even bigger and even louder.
That's gone for 6. My goodness.
Global superstars, monster sixes, edge of your seat drama, live music halftime, light shows, and a whole lot more. CPL 2025, the biggest party in sport, just got even bigger.
What a time to be alive!
Get your tickets now at cplp20.com.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
Thank you so very much, everyone, for staying with the Real Issues powered by Blue Waters. Before we open the phone lines, just responding to Mr. Lucius Justin asking for an update on Julian Alfred. A story written on stluciatimes.com by Terry Finister, and it's actually dated today. So it was posted 6 hours ago, August 28, 2025. I'm ready. Julian Alfred on Diamond League final. Okay, so she's saying she's ready. Olympic 100 meters champion Julian Alfred will return to the track this Thursday, which has to be today, at Weltklasse Zurich. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the German well. Aiming to defend her Wonder Diamond League title over the same distance. Forecast for Letzigrund Stadium suggests cool and rainy conditions similar to the weather Alfred faced during her win in Paris last year. Speaking to reporters on Wednesday, Alfred expressed confidence ahead of next month's World Championships in Tokyo, saying she has no fears or concerns as preparations intensify. Quote, "For me, whenever my coach feels like I'm ready to get out there, and he always says to me, he will never put me on the line if I'm not ready to compete," end of quote, Alfred insisted. Again, quote, "So I know that whenever I'm there, you know, I'm always ready to compete and not scared of anybody," end of quote. Oh, I love that. The 24-year-old champion from Ciceron will take to the track for the first time since July 19th. It will have been 38 days since she ran 21.71 seconds over 200 meters, the fastest time in the world for that distance at the London Athletics meet. In recent weeks, false reports have circulated that Alfred was injured. She bristled when asked about those reports. Quote, "I'm pretty healthy, I can't complain, and that's a good place to be," she said. "I mean, all praise to the Most High that I'm here and pretty healthy." Last year in Paris, Alfred faced a rapid turnaround between the 100-meter final and the opening round of the 200 meters. She eventually took silver in the 200. In Tokyo, she will have more breathing room between her events. Asked about facing down world and Olympic champions Shericka Jackson, Gabby Thomas, and Sha'Carri Richardson in Tokyo, she adopted a sanguine tone. "I know last year the semi-final in the 100 was very stressful," she recalled. "I cannot think about the 200. That's not something I think about. I know I have spoken about accepting the 200 anytime, many times, but I'm not really thinking about the 200. I just want to have fun when it comes to the 200 and just not really think so much of it as compared to the 100, where I think it's my baby event, and I really wanted to just ensure I'm executing." All right, there's a bit more in it, but we could go on and on, kind of lengthy. Alfred has said in the past that she does not display her medals and trophies, hiding them away so that she does not get caught up in her past achievements. She credited her family and coach Edric Floreal for keeping her focus on the challenges to come. All right, so quite a bit there. Mr. Justin, I hope that answers. That it's today. I don't know if you're talking about Zurich, you know, in
Zurich,
Germany.
in Switzerland.
That's a good few hours. Switzerland, yeah. That's a good few hours ahead of us. So, I don't know if it's
a
already.
while ago you say you don't speak you don't German. Well, you know if you pronounce it in German.
No,
it's Swiss. Swiss language. Yeah,
there's no Swiss language. Switzerland, the side closest to Germany.
To Germany, they do
speak German, and the side closest to France, they speak French.
It's French, yeah.
So there's no Swiss language. So in fact, the Velclass and Zurich,
and Zurich are actually
all
on the German side.
You know,
yeah.
Okay, but it is Switzerland, not Germany. 4879849. I think we are having our first call. You're gonna WhatsApp call us on 758-487-9849 and on the landline 4533-911. You're on there, caller. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon to you.
How y'all doing, Miguel? Good to see you.
Wonderful. How are you?
That's good. Yeah, y'all have me in a good mood. I'm in a good spirit. yes. You're just making my day. But whilst you're on Juju, I just want to highlight the outstanding performance of our young people. Akim Ogis, as you know, his roots is in Banff Library. And the young man from Monrepo, I think is Leon Gaston. So we can take a lot from that. Watch how the young folks are achieving. Watch how they are standing on the international stage. So that should be a good motivation for the other young people out there. When ideal hand will find, devil will find work for them to do. So I just want to put that in to let the young people know that, there is hope. They always feel like, there's nothing for them. And then you have people fooling their head with all this kind of crap, and there's so much distraction out there. There is always things for the young people to do. And watch how the young people like young Danny Butcher, I know him personally, put himself in politics. And I want to highlight that Shelton, I said I will talk to him about that. And he started on a good note. No mepui, nothing. He come and he said, that's just typical Danny Butcher on the whole. So I'm not surprised at all. And let me tell you, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. That's just the sign of things to come. There's a lot of hope.
Let me correct you though. Let me just not correct you, clarify. You said that he's deeply that Akim is deeply rooted in Labrie. But let's just say the South. I remember his mother's family is from Vieux Fort North. All right.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So let's just say the South. I don't want Alva's head to get too big.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay then.
All right.
Yeah, okay, Miguel. Have a good one. Yeah,
Okay.
my wrongs.
Sylvester Frederick tells me in a message that on Peterkin's page, he said it is at 4:30.
4:30.
Yeah, 4:30.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess when you make the correction for the time, I think he's talking about 4:30 our time.
Our time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that would probably be
I perceive.
Yeah, hi, you're on
Good
the
afternoon.
Go ahead.
For politics on the side of the UWP. And I couldn't understand from what they were saying whether we're living in St. Lucia or we're living someplace else. From my understanding, I believe I'm an alien compared to what I heard these people were saying and castigating the Labour Party government for not addressing the issues of women and youth as far as St. Lucia is concerned. I don't know, they must be listening or not listening to different channels as far as the effort and the thrust of the Philip J. Pierre administration in addressing issues and bring about policies that would really answer to the long-term problems of youth, women in the society is concerned. If we're talking of youth and women, there's the policy of the government of one university graduate per household. Doesn't that really approach to answer the question of education among youth and women? The question of the 4 schools, which I heard they were establishing under something called PVET, right? To enhance the skills of people for meaningful employment and things like that.
That they have established, they're not we're establishing, they have established.
Yeah, the school program that the government has in place to alleviate the pressures on mothers and parents as far as CXCs and going to school are concerned. Isn't that addressing the problem of youth and women? So I really couldn't understand. There are a number of other policies that are in general that are aimed at women, both directly and indirectly aimed at women. Most of nurses in St. Lucia are women. Let us talk of the policies the government has put in place to address the training of nurses, paying them properly, and them kind of issues. There's an issue which the government, women have really been marginalized in this country based on the policies of the UWP for years with respect to access to land. Yeah? The government came and told you, when was it in the last budget, that they will have a policy for women, for people, land operators, a lot of them may be a women-headed households, to get titles to their land. When you can compare that to what Alan Shastney did on the Desert, what you call it? Desert something, Desert Star Holding.
Yeah,
that effectively was marginalizing women in St. Lucia and farmers in general in St. Lucia. So I couldn't understand. We have the question of how people have been marginalized to access to credit and to do things. I learned months ago that the government had actually put in something called the
SMMA.
Some kind of thing to help women and business owners to access credit, both on a grant basis and a credit basis to help them. Isn't that these are policies that affect women?
Yeah.
So I believe, my brothers, the lies, the misinformation, and the distortion of the facts, the 2 people who I heard on Andre Paul's program, if they're really looking to vie for office under Alan Shastney, they should really put the record straight if they want to convince St. Lucian women and youth with respect to what they want to do over. I believe, when I perceive a lot of things in politics in St. Lucia for a very long time, that the people who are seeking to vie for office under Alan Shastney, if they were interested in the pushing St. Lucia forward and the people of St. Lucia forward, going under Alan Shastney is the wrong thing to do, as far as the leadership and Daniel was talking about it earlier on. It's a wrong thing to do if they're seeking to vie for political office with Alan Shastney as the leader, because some of the things over the years that he spent in government were not in the interest of St. Lucian's women and youth as far as it's concerned.
So I believe these two women, which I heard this morning, must put themselves straight and talk the truth if they really want to impress people, women and youth voters in Central Coast. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Comrade. And Shelton, I wanted to say, as Comrade Dimac, of course, being a trade unionist, if we look at the Labour Party historically and we look at equality and equity for women and, in fact, the underprivileged or the marginalized, the law whereby a woman, a teacher, and the majority of our teachers in that time were female, would have been suspended if she's unmarried, she gets pregnant. I think the second time they get fired, first time suspended. We look at the SMILE program. We look at even the STEP program, because when you look... Equal pay. Equal pay.
You know, there was a time there was junior, no make junior femme.
Exactly.
If the man gets paid $15 a day, the woman gets paid 12 or whatever less. They stopped all that.
They stopped all that, you know, and even the STEP program, Shelton, when you look at the STEP program, you look to the side of the road, you see us women, older women who are involved in the program using the cutlass. Go ahead. Sorry.
Hi, Real Issues, you're on there. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Let us correct this quickly. The race is at 2:02.
2:02. Okay.
2:02.
All right.
And then it's on YouTube for those people who want to see it live. Now, let me give you a little joke here. When the cabinet of John Compton in 1980, what it was? 83, denied Ignatius Jean and myself our scholarships to McGill University, John Compton sent to call me.
That's good.
So I called my president, David DeMarc. I said, boss, Compton kuye mo pou vya office luta. You know what DeMarc said to me? Wako netle pa atwa di like zwe nom na eh. Behave ko di dala. And that was it. Thank you guys.
All right, my brother. Good afternoon, brother.
You mean you were that much of a firebrand? Oh,
He gone, eh?
Yeah, I think he's gone.
But I still vex if you know. Up to now, you're in St. Lucia. You check me yet. Yes. Yeah. So we look at we have another caller. If we look at the Labour Party historically, they have, if not introduced things to take care of the marginalized, they have reversed some of the policies which were, of course, put in place by United Workers' Party, which would have further would have succeeded in marginalized certain groups within St. Lucia. We have a call.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon. Real Issues, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, tout va bien?
No, lati boy.
Okay. Moi, je suis from Plateau.
Okay.
Okay. Moi, just suis Wasco pour dire, il y a 12 jours depuis nous pouvons l'eau en Plateau. Tous les jours, moi, je suis en vibe. Hier, madame, moi, je suis, je dis, c'est aujourd'hui, nous avons de l'eau. T'as la nouvelle couille encore, je pense que ça va répondre. Il y a 10 jours. So, moi, je suis juste pour attendre ça. Merci.
Okay,
thank you. Wasco, you're hearing?
In my area where I live, between Barnardale and Susia, this morning, no water.
No water.
So,
I think we did at my office. I don't believe we had water this morning.
There was no water, but thankfully, like I say, I always make sure I keep,
I've never had that problem. We have lived for the past 10 years.
Yes.
I've never had that problem in terms of scarcity of water.
Yeah. I always make sure that the gallon bottles that I buy, when I do buy them, that I keep them.
Oh yeah, my cupboards under the sink are filled.
A whole lot of them, and make sure I always keep a supply of water for just those kinds of situations. We have another call on the line. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Daniel.
Hi, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, and good afternoon to your co-host.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. The Apostle Paul said that the powers that be is of God, and we must show respect to the powers that be. And the Bible also said, by kings reign and princes decree justice. But when I heard a so-called politician in a religious cloak said that the St. Lucia Labour Party was elected by the devil, I've never heard more nonsense than that. And these guys, they're very selective when it comes to quoting the Bible, because he never quoted be contented with your wages. He never quoted, do not put your trust in dishonest wealth, for it will not profit you in the days of calamity. And if a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. Proverbs 29:12. They don't quote this thing. You know?
On point, caller. On point.
He never said, he said also that he's a conservative Christian. But conservative Christians do not go at the back of parliament to borrow money.
He likes to conserve his ill-gotten wealth. That's what it is.
They have to follow the rules of parliament. And these same guys, they do not believe that white-collar criminals are criminals. They believe you have to shed blood, kill somebody to be a criminal. That's why in the crime statistics, they do not count white-collar criminals. So these people, we must identify them for who they are. Because both he and Shas, they are two compulsive liars. And we should not ever, ever trust these guys with our finances. Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sheldon, what this is, like he mentioned there, and I mentioned it this morning, they're trying to play to this religious base. Trying to play to what they think is a religious base with nonsensical things. I mean, Titus Privel, of all things, you're going to ask if Philip JPI is married on a platform. So what's that supposed to mean?
It just goes to show that sometimes the level that you credit some people with, when the rubber really hits the road, when it really comes down to brass tacks, you realize that they really are at the same boredom level that you thought.
You thought
they were above, that,
yeah.
You know, and it's always good to do that. You know, give people the benefit of the doubt where there is doubt, until when they will show you otherwise, they will prove themselves to be anything but you were prepared to give them credit for. Let's take what I think will be our final call. Real issues, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. How do you do, sir?
Good afternoon. Good.
How do I do?
Still. Hey, Migs, Dudu, how are you?
How do I do what?
I am Wasi. Let Miguel talk for himself.
How do I do what? That's my question.
I'm just asking, how are you doing fine? You look fine.
Good afternoon, my darling. Go ahead.
That's good. Guys, I don't think we are fishes. Because it's fishes that have the shortest memory. So we were insulted, stones were thrown at us, mud was thrown at us, shit was thrown at us. We heard it all, we took it all. And now he will come back with his nice talk. And we will buy that. Hello, St. Lucians. Voting Alan was the error of the century. And he ain't coming back. We are not repeating that mistake again. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you very much. Notice from the Water and Sewage Authority, Sewage Company, Inc., Wasco, 28th August 2025. Wasco wishes to inform the public of urgent mainline repairs at the government buildings front parking area, Casteries Waterfront, on Thursday, 28th August. To facilitate these works, the water supply to the northern network and the city of Casteries to Cap Estate will be temporarily interrupted. Works are estimated to be completed within 12 to 24 hours. Service to the affected areas will be restored gradually following these repairs. Please note that customers at high elevations and at the end of the northern distribution line may experience delays as the network stabilizes. The motoring public is encouraged to exercise caution and comply with road traffic control measures throughout the course of works. Wasco deeply regrets any inconvenience that this may cause. All right? Thank you very much, Miguel, for being here.
No problem, my brother.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much, Jaquan, for another great job with the controls and the calls. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday safely, everyone. Shelton Daniel for The Real Issues, powered by Blue Waters, signing out.
The man, the voice. Your hero is back. Raw facts, no fluff. Shelton Daniel is here to deal with the issues. Real issues. 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Real FM.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the